So, hello, I'm back with Shannon O'Connell. We did a little interview a few weeks back, but a lot's changed since then, Shannon. So we thought it would be good. You and I have been chatting, and we thought it'd be really good to catch up. And so obviously a lot's happened from when we previously spoke with, this proposed fight with Ebanie Bridges. So, I thought it'd be good to catch back up with you today. And thanks for joining me. But we thought it'd be
Yeah, for
good
sure.
and see where you're at with everything. Obviously, a lot's been going on since we last spoke. There's been a lot of back and forth on social media, and I know a lot of people were expecting that Bridges, or a lot of people predicted on social media that Bridges would be getting a voluntary title defence before she could fight you, and we now know it's transpired that the IBF have declined that proposal. So I thought it'd be good to catch up with you, get your thoughts, and see where you're at with everything. So, first question, choose a real simple one. How are you feeling about all of this at the minute? You must be quite excited. You must start feeling real.
Yeah, it's dragged on a lot. So it's been like when we got the notification about the purse bid date the other day, I was like, oh, it's still 2 weeks away. But then, I guess it's a massive step forward because there's an actual date now. Like the purse bid is on that date. The fight has to take place between, the October date and December, and so there's no getting out of it. Like now it's happening. So it's like a massive positive. We obviously, our proposed date in the negotiation period was September 15. So I've still been this whole time trying to stay focused and training towards that date, but that's obviously not going to happen because the day, like 2 days after the purse bid. So now, I've just got to keep sort of plodding along and staying ready. And that's sort of pretty easy with me because I'm training all the time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we last spoke, we were hopeful, hopeful that the fight would take place. And since then, obviously, like we said, Bridges' team have did put in for a voluntary defence. In that time, I mean, your social media has been full of you in the gym, training, working hard, so you've had that focus that this fight is going to be happening. I know a lot of us on social media backed you and were saying, we're confident that, this is going to be the situation. A lot of us got a lot of crap for it, for want of a better word. But, do you think that the IBF for us, we was again talking off camera, we were saying in regards to the IBF have done fabulously well really, because there's probably been that pressure there a little bit for them, because she's quite a big name UK wise, maybe not so much worldwide at the moment, but here in the UK, she's popular with a certain cohort of people. And were you worried? Did you think that there may come a time where the IBF might cave in a little bit to that and say, well, actually, all right, we'll give you a voluntary defence?
No, to be honest, so when she kept talking about the voluntary defence, I was like, what is she talking about? The IBF had called the fight. And then we found out a few days later that they had applied for an exemption. And I mean, the basis of their application was absolutely a joke. Like none of it was good. Like, they said they had video footage of me saying that I was happy to wait until March. I'm like, okay, I did say I was happy to wait till March, but that was before the IBF called the fight. And that was, I thought I had to wait till March. So obviously I was going to wait till March, but the IBF ordered the fight for September. So even better. Now I'm not happy to wait till March. Like it just made no sense. All the things that they'd put in their thing, the girl that they wanted to fight had a bigger social media following. All the things that we sort of looked at, we went, I never for a second thought that the IBF were going to agree to that. Like the IBF, I thought, well, they don't really care. Surely the guys at the IBF aren't really worried about someone's social media following.
You'd hope that.
Like, really? Like, this is boxing? Like, so I never really ever had a doubt that they wouldn't see it for what it is and back us there. Because obviously we had to put in our answer to why they shouldn't. And, I never really ever questioned the fact that they wouldn't back us. So I just kept training for that date. We were hoping that, once it got thrown out, the purse bids would be straight away. They have been sort of pushed back. And so the date of the purse bid is, it's not for another week and a half or something, which I would have rather it been last week because then I know what I'm training for. But I'm just so glad that they've seen it for what it is. And now that it is happening, whether it gets prolonged even more, I don't know. It is happening. So there's the next time she steps in the ring, it will be against me.
The other side of it is, I mean, we were talking again, you know, I think we've got to say well done to the IBF, you know, for enforcing their rules, because some of these sanctioning bodies, they're renowned for kind of going around their rules a little bit. You know, they have them there in writing, but you know, we've seen it many times over the years. You know, some of these bodies, you know, it depends on the promoters and things, how much clout they've got, for want of a better word, and sometimes they will navigate around those rules and slip in these things. So I think it's really good that the IBF have enforced their rule and you know, have stuck to their decision and said, no, this, you've got to make this mandatory defence. Shannon, you know, O'Connell is the number one contender. You've waited, you know, it's your time now. I mean, I think I heard somewhere that when she fought Roman, you know, for the title, I think Roman probably was due to fight a mandatory, and that was kind of slipped in as a voluntary against Bridges, which obviously pushes the mandatory back a bit further. And I think the IBF got to that point and they said, well, actually, we can't push it back any further. You've got to do it.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, no one has just ever really pushed them to, like, I mean, I guess women's boxing is sort of, it's getting to that point now where it's going to have to be run like the men. Whereas beforehand, it was almost like she's got a title, she wants to fight this person, okay. Because no one was pushing for those mandatory spots. Like, I think one thing that I guess years and years ago, I didn't even understand before I fought for my first IBF world title, is that you're actually being number one doesn't mean you're the mandatory. You've actually got to apply to be made the mandatory. Like you've got to let them know, hey, I'm number one and I want to fight. So I guess no one in the past has done that. So Roman would have had that title and no one was pushing for that mandatory fight. So she just kept having the voluntary ones. And then when we've pushed for it, they've gone, okay, well, there hasn't been a mandatory. There has to be now.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, because that was a worry I had. You know, when we were backing you up, you know, not so long ago, going, oh yeah, you know, she's the mandatory, she's got to do the fight, she's got to do the fight. That was the one thing. When you look at the rules, I think a lot of these sanctioning bodies need to look at their rules, because when you read into it, sometimes it is you know, it's talking more in a male context. You know, so I think there needs to be that. They need to maybe look at those and make it so it's more broad and encompasses male and females. But obviously, in this case, the probably used common sense, looked at that and gone, well, regardless, this is our rules and we're going to be enforced.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to a lot more of the fact that people just assume that because you're number one, you're the mandatory and it will happen for you, but you've actually got to make it happen. And no one in the past, I would assume, no one in the past has pushed for it, but we did. So we made it happen.
Excellent. That's the benefit of having a good team around you, I guess. You know, you've obviously surrounded yourself.
Absolutely.
Won't be pushed around and won't take any shit. You know, they kind of know we're enforcing, this is what we want to do. So, I mean, the next thing, there's been a lot of discussion again around where the fight should take place, be it in the UK or Australia. Again, my personal view, and I'm, you know, just sharing it, is that you're both Australian. You know, so for me, it's a no-brainer. This fight should take place in your homeland. It's, you know, we hear a lot about women's boxing in Australia not having the popularity maybe of other places around the world, be it the UK, America, wherever, you know. But surely a fight of this magnitude, two Australians fighting for a world title, should take place in your own, in Australia. I mean, that would be bring eyes on women's boxing. I mean, what's your thoughts on that one?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Eddie Hearn even did a interview saying it should be in Australia, but it will likely be in the UK. So, I mean, even he agrees it should be in Australia. It definitely should be in Australia. Yes, it's probably not as popular as it is in all around the world. But I think taking this fight outside of Australia is going to kill it even more in Australia. Like, it's never going to get popular here if we don't do it here. Like, you got two Australian fighters not fighting in their own country, well, then it's not really saying much for women's boxing in Australia, is it? It's, you know, let's be the start of something and make it big here. But yeah, I think it needs to happen. I understand why she doesn't want it to happen here. She's got this, I guess she's got this fake personality that she's got a lot of people in the UK fooled with it. Like, you know, I think she thinks she's tough or she's something, but she's not. And I think everyone here knows that. So over there, like, she can make up who she is, and I guess she's got the following for that. But and I think she knows, her fake amateur career, her everything that she seems to say that she's done, and how amazing she is. People here know that it's not true. So I understand that she wants the follow. She doesn't want her followers to know the truth.
Yeah, I think amateur-wise, she was talking about being was it a three-time Australian Golden Gloves champion, or when people look into that, I think that's more of an event where people just kind of turn up, and there's
Golden Gloves is a tournament, and yeah, it's a big tournament in Australia, but it's just a tournament that you nominate for, and there's sections. There's like A class, B class, where it's novices, intermediate, and experienced. I mean, I would assume she obviously fought experienced because there probably wasn't anyone in the novice section. But I mean, you can also the funny thing about it is you can actually also win Golden Gloves by walkover. Not saying that's what she did. I do know that at least one of the Golden Gloves she says she won, she didn't, because I know the girl that beat her.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, being Golden Gloves champion, it's sort of one of those things that when people say it to you, you're like, you're lying. Like, no, nobody cares. I mean, yes, it's awesome but it's not state champion level. It's not Australian champion level. It's not a qualifying event for anything.
Right. So it's just there.
It's just a tournament, and it's a big tournament, but it's just a tournament.
Fair play. So, I mean, in regards to a lot of things that have, I mean, again, we were talking and saying that, she does like to, again, huge social media following. You got to say that's through her own hard work. She's gathered that. Good luck to her for that. But recently, there's been mixed when she. Before this fight was actually said that it's going to purse bids. Prior to that, she was trying to tell people on her social media that she didn't know who you were. Now suddenly we seem to have done this full circle where she's now seems to be aware of who you are, and there's been a lot of nasty comments. I think was it Shitgun Shannon? I think she was calling you the other day. I mean, she's got a history of doing this, obviously, with the other Shannon when she thought Shannon. From the Shanny and being quite derogatory and different things like this. I mean, have you noticed this on social media? Are you starting to get a lot more? Are you getting people, jumping on the bandwagon, for want of a better word?
Yeah, like, I mean, she's probably got more support than I thought she would have had, I guess. But still, anyone that people are seeing her for what she is. Like, it's legit. Like, she's just a fake. Like, she talks tough because she's not tough. Like, and it's just the way it is. Like, I mean, I've had people saying to me all day, "Oh, I can't believe you're just letting her say that." Well, what am I going to do? Reply on Facebook? No. When she sees me face to face, she's going to know that she messed up. Like, she's going to see that the look in my face is going to make her go, "Oh shit, this is real." So I'm not going to get into some social media. Like, I'm an adult. Like, she might act like a kid, but I'm not getting into some social media war with her. Like, good on her. She's trashy. She's showing the world what she's really about. I mean, where I come from, I was raised hard, like really hard. And people that are legit and real, they don't talk the way she talks. She just wants people to think she's hard. She's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. I mean, I find it a little. There's herself, and there's a few others that, boxers that are closely entwined with her, if you like, and they preach a lot on social media about mental health and not bullying people, and people that maybe say negative things, they call them haters, and different things. I myself, and a couple of the guys that I know have been called trolls and haters just for sticking up and saying, well, actually, your fight with her will go ahead, because if the IBF follow their own rules, which thankfully they have done, we were confident this fight's going to go ahead, but you see them on social media all the time, oh, trolls, haters, derogatory, talking about mental health, do this, do that, follow Ali. But then in the next breath, they're encouraging people to bully by calling you names like shitgun, so they're trying to, so I just sit back and think, well, isn't that hypocritical? Isn't that slightly going against the grain of what the messages they try and preach about all love one another and, all this?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, all these girls, they're just, half of these girls that are all, ganging up together, none of them like each other. Like, they're just all fake, and I'm not fake, so I guess, you know, I become a target. But like half of them, literally, I've had every single female boxer that has they're all chummy now. They've all bitched about me to each other, bitched about each other to me at some point in the last few years, like every single one of them. And now they all love each other. Like they're idiots. Like it's all about the social media. Like it's all fake, and even the support that they're getting, it's fake because people are supporting something that's not even real. So I would like, if you know, I don't have the biggest social media following as what some of these girls do, but at least the people that follow me know that they're following the real me. Like what you see on my social media, like I'll post about my kids, I'll post about my family, I post about my trading, I post about my life, and it is really who I am. I'm not going for a 2K run and go, oh my god, 10Ks. Like if I run 2K, I'll post 2K. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, and I just think some of the things that they're posting about, and you know, all the mental health things, they don't care about mental health because they just want to they're just writing what they think other people want to read. I actually care about mental health because I have had mental health issues myself, and it's something that is extremely close to me. My mum died of a drug overdose. All those things, they actually mean something to me. So if I write something like that, it's real. And I'm not gonna sit there and you know, argue with these idiots that don't even know what they're talking. They're just writing stuff that they think other people want to read.
No, agreed. It's I just found it again. You know, I just think it's hypocritical. You know, to be in one breath, you know, calling people who are supporting you, maybe, you know, because did seem to be targeted at people that maybe are on your side, saying, well, actually, you deserve your shot. You know, you've worked hard for your shot. You know, and then they're all over those people, and then it's kind of like she's calling you shit gun, and you know, all these different things, all these derogatory things that are being posted now. And it's kind of like, well, you know, 1 minute you don't know who Shannon O'Connell is, and clearly we all knew she knew who were, and now she's kind of calling.
Let's be honest. Every time that girl opens her mouth, she contradicts herself. Like seriously, like all the things she said, like they actually paid money to put that exemption application in.
Wow.
And now she's saying, I can't wait to fight her. Like it was a decent chunk of money. Now she's saying, I can't wait to fight her. Well, hang on, but you just paid to not fight me. It got thrown out. Now you can't wait to fight me. Like, huh? Which one is it, love? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Again, you know, it's kind of.
And you don't know me, or you know me. You don't know me, but now you can't wait to shut me up. Like, the only reason she wants to shut, like, I mean, the only reason she wants to shut me up is, the only thing she wants to shut up about is the fact that I want to fight. And it doesn't, to me, I mean, whether it was her or if Roman had beat her, like I'd be chasing Roman. Like it's not about her. I don't care about her. I want the title that I believe I deserve.
And you've worked hard to get.
I want a shot at the title that I believe I deserve.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. And I mean, again, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because the problem you've got now is obviously because she is the champion, it will all be about, you know, granted with any champion, it's always going to be more about the champion, but you know, I guess because you've got that added pressure of, if you want to call it pressure, I don't know, you'll probably say something different, but to me it's kind of like, now that we know the fight's going ahead, it's going to have that build up now, isn't it? You're going to have that kind of, it's going to be a bit of back and forth. You've been training hard, but you're going to have that kind of pressure of, because she does like to talk and she does like to be kind of in the spotlight, for want of a better word. So would you see that as a benefit to you, or do you think that's going to maybe take her mind away more from the fight, or do you think she's going to
look, it's putting more pressure on her than anything. I don't care. Like if she thinks that all her talking is going to upset me or stop me from training, like she's stupid, because it just makes me, I mean, to be honest, like I can't even say it makes me push harder, because I can't push harder. Like it just makes it all more worthwhile, if anything. Like I'm training as hard as my body is going to ever let me train, and I want this more than I've wanted any other fight. It's just going to make it more worthwhile when I do get it. So she's putting all the pressure on herself. She's she's doing all these things that, I mean, she's up at, she's doing all these things at night. I'm in bed sleeping so I can get up and rest. So I can get up and train hard the next day. Like all this stuff that she's doing, all these signings and that. Like I ain't got time for that shit because I'm training. And I just think, to be honest, she's letting it get to her head a little bit too much. And I know that I'm in her nightmares. She does not want to fight me. I came face to face with her. Well, not really face to face, but I was at a fight night 6 months ago. It was May. And I didn't even realize she was, I mean, I knew she was there. I didn't realize she was walking behind me. And I sort of turned around and she gave me this sheepish little smile. And I was like, I just fucking glared at her because I was like, you've said so much shit about me. Why would I smile at you? Mm. And right then and there, I went, this bitch is scared of me. Well, when you're running down someone so much, when you're acting like you don't know who they are, why are you going to smile at them like you hi type thing? Do you know what I mean? Like I was like straight right then and there. I went, oh, she is intimidated by me. This girl is not tough at all. She's not hard. She just wants people to think she is.
There does seem to be that kind of illusion around her. I mean, she's created it again. Yeah. I tip my hat to her for that because she's tapped into a certain market, and good luck to her. Obviously, she's doing okay out of that. She's managed to get her social medias up, social media following up, and she seems to be. But again, I think that, like you've just touched on there, it could be more of a distraction for her rather than a positive, because now she's built herself up to be, this future of women's boxing, or whatever you want to call it, and but now she's going to be in a real fight, and I think that's, like you say, a lot of people probably do look now and say, well, actually, she's had, not a hard run to the title, for want of a better word. She had Shannon O'Connell, who she lost to, followed by, I think it was Gangloff, who again was a very questionable kind of, a lot of people felt she lost that fight, followed by a fight with Roman.
Beck Connolly.
Beck Connolly, sorry, apologies. Yeah. She fought Beck Connolly, but again, Beck Connolly, I think Beck kind of got dragged down to super bantamweight. I don't think that was a natural weight, and a lot of people watched that fight. Yeah, congratulations to Bridges for stopping her, but a lot of people didn't feel that Beck Connolly was totally right in that fight. She, something wasn't right with her, and then obviously she had Roman. Again, I don't think Roman had a stoppage on her record. I don't think she ever stopped anybody, and she kind of had bouts of inactivity and won a title. And people call her the longest reigning world champion, but if you check her record, I think the reason for that was she wasn't really doing a lot. Obviously, we had COVID, which affected all of you, for fight-wise, but she didn't really seem to. I think there was a couple of non-title, even when she was champion, Roman. I think she had a couple of fights that were non-title fights while she was the champion, before she went in with Bridges. And I think one of them, might have even been a loss at a higher weight. I'll have to check the records. Don't quote me on that. But so the pathway she's had to the title, has been quite a gift, and obviously she's got Eddie Hearn behind her, so that would explain that one. But now she's going to be in with somebody hungry like yourself, who's waited patiently for your turn to, get your opportunity and your shot. So this is a whole new level of boxing for her, I feel, and I'm sure many people feel the same. The pressure is now going to be mounting. Surely in the back of her mind, you said, when she goes to bed at night, you're giving her nightmares. And I'm sure as purse bids come, we know the purse bids are in now, and it's kind of like, as time, it's going to become very, very real. I think the point I'm trying to make is going to become very, very, very real for her very, very quickly and very soon. And then I think that's really going to say to, if she, I think we spoke off camera, and it's kind of like, if she can get past you, then people will tip their hat and say, okay, you've done all right. But I think a lot of people now realize that we're going to find out how good she really is in this fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had nothing gifted to me in my entire career. Nothing. Like, I have fought in people's backyards. I have been, I fought, I think it was my 6th or 7th fight, Choi, who was, I think, defending her title for the 6th or 7th time. And I had Korean judges come up to me after the fight and say, like, they weren't the judges, but they were judges, saying, you won that fight. And I'm like, well, I didn't, because I'm the Australian girl in Korea. and that's just not how it works. I fought Marcela Acuna in Argentina for the IBF super bantamweight title, and again, it was in the newspapers the next day that I got robbed. So people keep saying, "Oh yeah, Shotgun, she just falls short. Every time she steps up, she falls short." Well, I've never had anything gifted to me. I've had things ripped apart, ripped away from me my entire life since I was 2 years old, and it's my time. It's my time now. I've waited a long time for this, and like, there's not a chance she's going to take this from me.
You feel it's your destiny. This is the key.
Yeah, this has to go my way. It just has to. I've worked way too hard for this, and people want to say, "Oh yeah, but she upped her life and moved to another country." It's a big fucking deal. Big deal.
At the end of the day, I mean, she might have moved to another country, but let's be perfectly honest. I mean, she probably didn't have the, for fighters like yourself, and there's, other girls out in Australia, you've got commitments, you've got lives, you've got families, you can't just up sticks and uproot your kids and fly halfway across the world and find somewhere to live in the UK. It's just not that easy. But if you're doing it on your own, I'm not saying it's, easy, but it's easier. If you've got only yourself to worry about, it's a totally different kettle of fish. And obviously if you've got, like Matchroom as part of your promotion then, or your team, then obviously it probably makes it a little bit easier to make that decision. But for Sky Nicholson's done it, hasn't she? But again, she's a young fighter. I'm sure she's got a family in Australia. It must be quite heartrending to move away. But I'm sure for a lot of these people, it's not forever, is it? They're coming over just for their boxing careers. I can't imagine Bridges is going to spend the rest of her life living here in the UK until she's old and grey. Unless, I'm sure the ultimate goal is to head back home at some point. Because who wouldn't?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't. I'd hate for people to think that I'm complaining that I've got kids and a family, but I love my kids more than life. I wouldn't change in the world the fact that I've got 3 beautiful kids. I've got a mortgage here. I actually don't know that I would change my path. I like that I've done everything the hard way. It's the way I was brought into this world. Like I've never had it easy. My dad died when I was 2 years old, and my mum was a drug addict. I've never had anything easy ever in my life. I moved away from my family because I was falling into that same sort of life, and I needed to change my life. And I busted my ass for nearly 20 years to create this moment, and I wouldn't change anything. If I get through the end of this and I've got that belt, and I mean, to me, there's probably still not going to be enough, because I'm someone that's always wanting more. Once I've got it, every single thing that I've been through to get there was worth it. She hasn't been through any of that. She doesn't know what it's like. Actually, one person that I have massive respect for, never actually met her, but when I heard the commentators bringing Jamie Mitchell to the ring when she was fighting Shannon Courtney,
yes,
I got on Sportsbet and I went, Jamie Mitchell's going to win, because I heard her backstory and I went, this bitch is hard. She's not going to lose this fight.
You had a tough life, and
I've massive respect for her, and well, I mean, she won me money, so thank you. But as soon as I heard, I look at the whole, you've had everything handed to you your way, and then you've had to fight for where you are in life. That person's always going to win it for me. And I might not have won all my fights, I might not have won all my world title shots, but eventually I deserve for things to go my way, and that's going to be now.
You sound determined. It sounds, I think
very.
It's, again, I know we spoke about it. I don't want to sound like a scratch record, but for me, I think this fight needs to take place in Australia. I think it's just the best place for it to happen. And again, we're talking about people moving across the world to further their careers in the UK, USA, wherever it may be. But surely, again, touching on that, for this fight to happen in Australia, it's going to put women's boxing on the map in Australia. You've got a lot of up and coming fighters. We've got a fight this weekend with one of the UK girls, Holly Told, who's fighting against Beck Hawker over in Brisbane. So it needs these fights to be happening for the sport to grow. So, surely it's. I mean, if it happened again, I'm sure for you, there must be in the back of your mind. We were talking off camera about Usyk and AJ fight. That was in Dubai, for God's sake. But the scorecards for that were a little bit dubious. I think, trying to be polite, dubious scorecard. So for your peace of mind, like you say, you've had your whole career build into this moment. You want to make sure that it's an equal playing field.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to be on the back end of, like we've said, sometimes as the away fighter fighting for a title, especially here in the UK, which has got a history, unfortunately, of some dubious scoring, which is, frustrating.
Yeah, so does every country.
Yeah. So, but, you want that level playing. You don't want to start a fight 2 rounds down before the first bell even rings. You want to be in there kind of ready that everything's done fairly, and the best person, be it whoever it is, the best person wins. You don't want that kind of, you don't want to be boxing your ears off and boxing somebody's ears off and then find out after 10 rounds that, you're down 4 rounds on a scorecard or something. That just wouldn't be right after all the, the work that's gone into this for you, So,
yeah.
I mean, how's the training going? I mean, like I say, we've said that you've been training hard since you heard this fight could happen. We've seen a lot of training footage of you on social media. You seem to be training really hard. I mean, if there's going to be a bit of a delay now and you're looking maybe November for December, this fight, are you thinking you're going to taper that back a little bit, or will you, carry on doing what you're doing?
I'll keep going. I mean, we've got a date in October, so at the moment, I'll train towards that. I mean, obviously, if Eddie Hearn wins the purse bid, then it could be at any time. So I guess I'm just, until the purse bid, I'm still going to keep training like the fight's happening soon. Once the purse bid happens, and I think there's only maybe it could be a week or 10 days or something like that. The contracts have to be done and signed, and once that's all done, then I'll reassess that. And if I need to take back off, I've never burnt myself out in the past, but I mean, if it means I have to have a couple of days off here and there, or whatever, I'm not. I know my body pretty well. I'll do what's necessary. But at the moment, I'm still training like the fight's happening soon.
Keeping it out there. Perfect. Well, Shannon,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, obviously, thanks for coming on. I mean, I won't keep you much long because we were chatting for quite a while off camera, and we've still got the previous interview that we're going to put into this one, because obviously we knew there'd be some changes between that interview and this interview. And I'm conscious that
we could probably do another one tomorrow. There'll be some changes.
Changes to that. But, I mean, hopefully this will happen, and it'll happen in Australia for you, for you. So, but thanks for coming on. I'm not going to keep, because what's the time there now? It must be.
I'm not sure, but yeah, the reason why I said I'll explain when I get on is because you said 8 o'clock to me, but it was actually 7.
Oh, so it's me.
Yeah, but when I read the link, it said 10. I'm like, hang on, I better check the time in London right now. That's why I checked with you, because otherwise you would have been waiting for me for an hour.
Oh, no. That's me and my times. I thought you were 10 hours out. I don't know. I get confused with all these times.
No, it's 9.
It's like we were talking about the purse bids, isn't it? That's going to be America, and it's like.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be setting my alarm for probably 2 a.m. here just to get the results.
Crazy.
I'll be waking up every hour, checking my phone, make sure there's no messages.
Well, hopefully it'll be very positive. And like I say, I think for most people, I think we're hoping this fight happens in Australia, just because more so for the fact it'll be good to see women's Australian boxing get on the map out there a little bit. And I think this could be the fight that would do that. I think it really could.
Yeah.
So good luck with that. And if there's anything changes, then we'll jump back on and do another one and another one and another one. And I think your dog is trying to give you something in there, I think. But thanks for your time.
My big tough dog.
God bless.
Get away.
Lovely.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
Thanks for coming on, and we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thank you. I just realized that was such an Aussie thing to do.